What's up, guys?
Hey.
We're here live on a Sunday night, getting you a first look, early look, I guess, at the week one slate ahead. Are we calling it week zero? I know they're not calling it week zero, but we're gonna always call it week zero at this point.
Yeah, I don't think we have a choice at this point unless
Yeah,
we get a full slate. Until there's a full slate of games week 0, then it becomes week 1.
yeah, we're still. You can't call me a supersized week zero, but I think we're gonna look back at what yesterday was, what kind of stood out to us. I mean, I know it wasn't many games, but enough. I think I know I was 1 out of 2 on caching, and I knew immediately about 8 seconds into that the prime time slate that I wasn't gonna DFS wise. That was pretty obvious.
Yeah, my best hit of the day was the Stanford Hawaii showdown. I had multiple entries in the top 10. But the best fight of the day goes to the Avery Johnson's dad and his brother beating up each other in the street. He showed a little fight there, but my Rocco for Heisman ticket still alive, firmly in play at this point. I think he's going to run the table for about 8 weeks, and then we got to see a showdown with Arizona State, but they will struggle mightily with that offensive line if they end up having to face Texas Tech with that demons they have screaming off the edge.
Yeah, I mean, I really we don't have to waste any more time and just talk about what happened this weekend. That K State, Iowa State felt like you could have just thrown the whole first half away, given the rain and the fireworks smoke that led to the first muffed punt and kind of everything else that happened there. Obviously, it turned into a fireworks show itself for that last maybe 25 minutes or so, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was 24 points scored in the fourth quarter, and Rocco put the team on his back. I mean, he threw some dimes. Clearly, we were completely wrong on who the wide receivers were going to be. I
Yeah.
think it looked like they ran the wrong route combo at one point, and then they started relying more on Overby because Soul played a ton early in that game, and they kind of took him out of the game once there was a set at one point where Townsend was supposed to run an out, and Soul was supposed to run a post, and Rocco threw it where the out was going to be, and neither one of them was in the right spot. So I think they decided they don't know the offense. Hanson played fairly well late in the game. I was super impressed personally with the front seven. Big Juice, Dominic Orange, he looked really good for Iowa State in the middle. And I was very impressed with the front seven, which I kind of expected Iowa State to have a very strong second level with all the linebackers that they had coming back.
I thought the biggest surprise in the whole game was how in the world Avery Johnson didn't get the first down on that fourth down attempt.
Yeah.
I mean, he came around the corner and I was like, that's a first down. And then he wasn't particularly close.
No, they got some missiles on the back end for Iowa State. So that defense is going to carry them. Their offense just needs to do enough. They need to start chipping these edges and using Gabe Burkle as more of a blocker in the sense. Ben Bramer looks like a very good weapon for them as a tight end. I think Iowa State can win a lot of games. Now they're 2 games up. Kansas State's in a big hole at this point trying to win their way out. And Iowa State only has really 2 tough games left, but 1 conference game that's tough with Arizona State because they avoid Utah, and they avoid Texas Tech. So they avoid some of the higher end teams, and then they have the Cyhawk game coming up too.
Otherwise, standout stuff. Dan Mullen era at UNLV with the dual quarterback of Orgy and the gang there. Just nasty turnout in the first game. Jalen Daniels looks fantastic for Kansas. We know health is the question there with him always, but he seems to have a firm grip on the offense. My first bad beat was the Sam Houston first and goal at the 1 to get the cover and then not scoring with like less than a minute to go there. And then I'll save the Hawaii game. I think we could talk a little there, but anything in those 3 stand out in particular to you?
Yeah, I kind of I call Calandria the whoopsie daisy king. Right now, that defense for UNLV is a whoopsie daisy orgy. So I think we're going to maybe go with that being the offense potentially. Jaden Thomas looked really good. Jaden Bradley as well. The Jadens showed up on offense for them. To your point, I thought Jalen Daniels looked extremely healthy. He did get hit at one point and hobble off a little bit. I was a little
Yeah,
worried
look a
about the back
tweaked
there.
leg there on a simple little move.
Yeah. Cam Pickett looked really good. Emmanuel Henderson started out hot. Pickett picked up. He was a Ball State transfer. Looked good with six catches, 77 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, the two
Daniel
early scores.
Highshaw had some really nice juice. I kind of want him to tone it down a little bit. He was getting a little too fiery with his offensive line. Every single time he went down, he got up yelling at a lineman. So I didn't like that too much. LaShawn Williams looked like he hurt his shoulder, came out towards the end of the game. And then to your point, McIver was just Maverick was on full display, just slinging the rock everywhere. Henry looked really, really good. He's definitely the number one. It's not KD Hutchinson. Musa Berry looked pretty good too. I really like where that offense is going. That freshman running back, Mavis Parrish, was a shock out of nowhere. Nobody talked about him. Everybody thought it was going to be Lavelle Wright as the number 2, George Hart as the number 1, and it was the Mavis Parrish show.
The last game was that Stanford Hawaii game, which unfortunately kicked off like in the middle of the day, which sucks for Hawaii starts out.
It needed to be a night game. I needed a 10 p.m. Hawaii game.
Well, I mean, like by the time we got to the fourth quarter, it was cool because it was like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock here Eastern time, but the field was like noon. It was so bright. I was like, my eyes shouldn't be seeing this. It's too bright. I need this to be darker. But all in all, I mean, the biggest thing there was Go Branson still sucks.
God, he's awful. I mean, I called it last week that I didn't want to play him. I didn't like the pass catching weapons. CJ Williams looked okay. But we went 100% in on Micah Ford, and he was the top running back on the slate. So it made a ton of sense. Ford looked good. It took him a while to get going. They wore him down finally. Frank Reich was just trying to control the clock. But, I thought Jackson Harris looked good for Hawaii. He earned 11 targets. Pafeli Ashlock was who we thought he was. 9 catches, very little yards, caught a touchdown. Alejado was scrambling around until he broke his ankle. And then he was still trying to run. He looked a little fresh. He reminded me so much of Mahomes when he hurt his ankle and he was hobbling around. He just looked just like him. That was funny.
Dylan Raiola so crash land through this live stream. Like,
hey, Dylan Raiola, we're going to talk about Dylan Raiola this week because he's lost some weight. But yeah, I thought Alejado really willed him back to victory. My bets went 2-0. I had a 4-leg parlay and a 2-leg parlay that both cashed. So that worked out well.
That's always good to hear. The thing that always stood out to me for Frank Reich's first game was how is the NFL coach the one who has no idea how to use his timeouts? I mean, we had 3 left there that burned a hole in his pocket in the game. Give your guys a chance, use them. I don't know what was happening there.
I think he knew that
they didn't have a chance to come back regardless. I mean,
yeah, he knew that Go Branson wasn't going anywhere. I was shocked that they threw the ball when they got the ball back tied. That's where I was shocked. Why didn't they hand the ball off to Micah Ford at that point? Because Ford was really rolling. He topped 100 yards in this game.
They got the 3rd down, and I was like, oh, so this game is over. This is over.
Yeah, as soon as they punted. Now, the thing that hurt my bags the most this weekend was that missed shot. I don't know if you got to see it, but Alejado had Brandon White streaking for like a 70-yard touchdown, and he overthrew him by about 2 feet. That one hurt.
That's college football in a nutshell, isn't it?
Well, it was almost as hurtful as the Dylan Edwards phantom ankle injury where I still haven't seen it on video how he got hurt. I really thought it was a pride thing and they just said, we're benching you for a bit, but then he never came back.
Yeah. And the way Kleiman said it at the halftime interview, he was like, yeah, he's out.
Yeah. I don't know.
There was no like, yeah, we're going to get a look at him, see how he's doing, try and see if we can get him out here. He was just like, he's out. Yeah. I mean, it's something I feel like you'd say if he broke it, but I mean, that was very strange.
He had to have been hurt before he walked on the field. That's the only thing I can come up with.
Yeah. Otherwise it's just too messy to try and have him out there. I don't know. It was very bizarre. Regardless, I mean, that's our week 0. And I know I'm plenty excited to look ahead to week 1. I told you earlier, I'm heading out to Clemson for the LSU Clemson game, and we can save that one because, I mean, we start Thursday with a fun one. Boise State's coming here to Tampa to face USF. I'm excited to watch that one and trying to sneak my way out to go look at that game.
Yeah, that one's getting a standalone video. That's the underrated game of the week this week. I'm excited for it.
I'm surprised. I mean, I understand Boise reputation and kind of everything they bring, but I was surprised them see them nearly as a touchdown favorite here.
Yeah, I think it being on the road is a little questionable. That playing in that Florida heat it hits different. I worry a little bit about the weapons around Byron Brown. I think USF is going to be a team that if they didn't have that very tough non-conference schedule with Florida and Miami, they would be firmly in the discussion of a team that we think could push for a college football. This would be a CFP eliminator game to me if they didn't have those two other games. But those two other games just immediately eliminate them from contention for me. So the schedule is just too difficult on them. Similar to Tulane. Tulane's schedule is just too difficult in the non-con. So I think Brown can take that game there. I still really buy into Boise being that team. Like everybody's worried, oh well, there's no Ashton Genty. Well, they've been through Doug Martin, Alexander Madison,
LeGarrette
Jay
Blunt.
Ajayi. Yeah, LeGarrette Blunt. No, LeGarrette Blunt punched the Boise guy when he was at he was on
Oh,
Oregon. That was an Oregon non-con game when he punched the guy. He
yeah.
punched the
Sometimes
Boise player. He might have inherited superpowers from that because he knocked him out. But yeah, I mean they've just had a lineage of George Halani. Like the lineage of Boise running backs is unprecedented, and they have Sire Gaines. He easily could be the next one in the line. They brought in Malik Sherrod. I think it's a waste of touches when you play him. But then John Bray Dubar, one of my favorite players, nicknamed Breezy. I wish they would give him a little bit more run. I thought he would eventually be the successor to Genty, but it sounds like Sire Gaines has jumped him on the depth chart.
otherwise this day, I mean, I think there's probably two other games that stand out to me. East Carolina at NC State. I think that could be fun.
Rematch of
Given
the bowl game, and a massive total on that game. That's a DFS wonderland right there.
and you were saying earlier how difficult this Thursday slate is, and you mentioned Dylan Raiola, so uh, they're heading to
Yeah,
Arrowhead to play Cincinnati. So
well, Dylan Raiola's 7,500. He's 2K cheaper than either quarterback in that East Carolina game. So like CJ Bailey's probably my favorite quarterback raw play points projection wise, and he's 2K more than Dylan Raiola. Raiola has lost some weight during this offseason. They've said he's more mobile. They think he's going to run. And don't forget that the difference in this thing for me is I trust Dana Holgerson to run an offense like nobody else. He can get a ton out of an offense. We've seen plenty of production. Heck, Clint Trickett was ripping the ball all over the place for them at West Virginia. You know, he was very good at Houston, getting a ton of production. He had Donovan. What was his name? What was that kid's name? Donovan Smith. He had Donovan Smith in like people were projecting him to be a first or second round pick at points because of talent. And I always thought he sucked. He was good with Holgerson though. So like you think about these things, Holgerson's going to be able to maximize. They played really well at the end of the year with Holgerson. So when you do that, they got rid of their wide receivers are gone, but they still have Jacob Barney playing out of the slot. And I really like the addition of Dane Key on the outside. I think he ends up leading them in yards and touchdowns. So they're a little lacking at running back depth, but ultimately that's a very good team. And now they lost the defensive coordinator, but that was a great pickup by Florida State. They paid a lot of money for that for a good reason. But I think the defense, I mean, they always have a decent defense. So I don't have too many concerns there.
skipping ahead to Friday now, two games stand out here, and both of them with lines I circled immediately looking at the group. Um, Auburn's -2.5 at Baylor, and then Georgia Tech is -4 at Colorado. I don't understand how Auburn's favored, and I don't understand why Georgia Tech is so small favored. I
Yeah.
don't particularly love Baylor, but I don't really understand how Auburn is going to play three quarterbacks with three different play callers on the road. I know we're doing coach speak stuff here, but what has Auburn given us to make me feel? I mean, again, they get the transfer from Georgia Tech, who I like a lot. I like Cam Coleman a lot. Do I like whatever they have at quarterback? I don't know. Can it be worse than what they had last year? I really doubt it. but I just don't. I don't have any trust in whatever it is that Hugh Freeze is doing at this point to say, yeah, give me road favorites here.
I don't disagree with you, but like, I number one, I hate. I don't want to use hate a ton, but I hate Auburn's running back situation. It's awful. It's just so bad. It's like they constructed this beautiful offense with no running back. They just Damari Alston, terrible. Jeremiah Cobb is his name. He's terrible. Like they don't have a running back. Period. Jarquez Hunter left, and they lost their running back. I struggle. I hope they only play one quarterback. But I've also been long on the Jackson Arnold train, and I don't want to get off yet because I think that might be the best 3 wide receiver tandem in the country. With what was it, Malcolm Simmons? Like
Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton.
Yes, it could be the best 3 wide receiver tandem in the country. It's so good. It's up there with it's close to Clemson. I rate Clemson's trio as the best in the country as far as a trio goes. Jeremiah Smith's the best wide receiver in the country. Trios, I like Clemson's a lot. But Auburn's defense has a couple playmakers. I do worry about their defensive line. Sawyer Robertson, great. Josh Cameron, very good. They still have plenty of weapons on the outside. Michael Trigg's still there. I do like their running backs. So it's going to come down to whose defense plays better. I would lean Baylor if I was making a bet. I think Baylor wins that game. Now, to your point on Georgia Tech, that's at 3.5 right now. And I don't see how you don't just hammer the heck out of that. Like,
yeah, it seems crazy.
I'm willing to lay the 124 to get 3.5. Like, there's no reason you don't bet that. It's one of the top bets of the week for me. I'm laying that in there. Caden Salter stinks. I think the wide receivers are decent. They're not going to have a run game. I think their defense is going to be a little salty. The offensive line's solid, but Georgia Tech, man, like we talked about it, Haynes King could be a legitimate Heisman contender. They're an ACC title contender. I think Colorado is going to struggle to make a bowl.
Yeah, I keep thinking, and we can have this Shedeur Sanders, is he good, is he not argument that everyone in the country for some reason is having over the last month of preseason football. Right. But they're all having that as an NFL argument, right? In terms of as a college football quarterback, you and I sat here all the time saying, very good. Because you can do the dance around, make guys miss, F it, Travis Hunter's down there somewhere, F it, Jimmy Horn's down, LeJonte Wester's down. Like the weapons were there. He was a great quarterback for that type of play. And Travis Hunter could is a ball winner. You take all of that away and you start over with, like you said, with I don't see it. I just don't see it. Like this Georgia Tech team is so physical. Like that's the whole thing, right? And I don't see how this game is close. I just don't.
Yeah.
If you made me pick a team I would have thought would give Colorado a hard time, it would be Georgia Tech. Like that'd be like my first choice. I mean, I guess I could pick Georgia or something. Like if you took the, maybe like quote unquote like similar teams, you took the big ones off the board for me, I'd be like, yeah, Georgia Tech probably.
Yeah, I mean Jamal Haynes King, physical style of runner, especially right now when he's going to be healthy. Malik Rutherford, Eric Rivers, Dean Patterson. The other kid's probably going to start. Patterson's like the 4th wide receiver at this point. Defense is going to be solid. I just don't see it. Remember, though, Colorado's defense is going to be improved because for how good Shedeur is, Shiloh was a negative. Hey, I told you all last year, the best that defense performed was when Shiloh was out.
Was when we had Jordan on the show and he was like, well, they're getting Shiloh back. And you're like, that's not going to help.
That's not good, buddy. That's not good.
Not great. Yeah. I mean, that was the number that jumped out to me most on the entire thing this week. At this point, it stands out. I guess the public may keep that number there, but I
think they do. The Sanders gang keeps that number there, but I bet it. I will bet it. I have no problem with that. It's my second favorite bet of the week.
Next up, Texas is a dog heading to Ohio State, coming off their national championship. I feel like this is again on Saturday, just to kind of move it ahead. I think it's one of the games obviously you have to talk about. Um, one, how is this 1 versus 3? Why didn't we just make this 1 versus 2? I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
I understand Penn State, but I mean, come on, it's the reigning national champ. You can make them 2 just to make it happen. It's okay. Um, man, I get the same kind of feeling that I did with Texas heading to Michigan, in that I really think Texas brings power that I don't think like Michigan had a prayer for.
Yeah.
Um, you said it. Jeremiah Smith's probably the best player in the country.
Hmm.
I still really like Texas.
Yeah, and if we factor in home field advantage is 5 points for college for the big teams. So this realistically on a neutral site is Texas minus 2.5. So that's fine. I think Texas is the better team, and I saw a stat the other day that quarterbacks making their first start against the top 5 opponent are 0-18. So Julian Singing first start against top 5 opponent in Texas. Can he be the first one to buck the trend? I think it's possible. JB, I got some stuff up from the live show earlier today. It's got no, I can get you some FanDuel Thursday stuff. You can kind of play whatever you want. It'll go off the DraftKings, but yeah, I'll hit a show on that for sure.
Hey, JB.
But yeah, I think Texas is an easy money line bet here, no doubt about it. And I think it's plenty fine there. I would prefer. I think Arch plays well. I think him getting his feet wet really helps. Baxter is healthier. I know you're not a Baxter guy. I'm heavily invested in Baxter at this point. I know he's got a butt like a frog, but still, I think the kid's good. I had this one circled as a bet where I would bet Texas for sure.
I'm very much right there. I am going to sit here and all off season. I feel like I was banging the table with why are we all in love with Arch Manning? I get it, but we're projecting in a way that I don't think is we have much to project based like nothing really at the college level to base it on. But I mean, compared to saying in Ohio State, I don't really have many other concrete answers either. I mean, all of the guys besides Jeremiah Smith aren't really there. I mean, you look through the Travian Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, uh, on down the list. It's a change of the guard there. So I mean, if I'm going to make that argument about Arch overall, I can do the same thing for Ohio State. The other early
Yeah.
game I wanted to put here your thoughts on, because Tennessee's a 2-touchdown favorite over Syracuse. Am I wrong to kind of think I like Syracuse a little there?
No. Yes, and no. I don't know how much Syracuse is going to be able to score with them. I think that's the Deshaun Bishop show. I think they run all over him. Peyton Lewis, Deshaun Bishop. They'll probably be the top 2 backs there. I believe it says Joey Aguilar is definitely going to start there. Steve Angeli's starting for Syracuse. There was a little question there because
Yeah,
Ricky
it's
Collins
Angeli.
went to media days, So I think
Yeah, and they were
Gill.
like, never mind.
Yeah, that's odd. Yeah, Gill is going to end up being one of the wideouts. They lack. It's a full turnover there, of that whole offense. You lost the tight
The
end.
Quinn,
You
Arante
lost all the wide
Gadsden,
receivers. Yeah, you lost to Quint. I think the kid starting
Meeks.
Yasheen Willis. I think he's 60% of LaQuint Allen. Like they were schedule based, is how they got there last year. This year, it's just, shoes off Cinderella. Mikey Matthews is back healthy for Tennessee. I think their defense is going to be real stout. I understand that one. I'm only playing Bishop. That's one of the guys that I'm looking to get some exposure to on Saturday. I think he's like 6,400 from the preview I did earlier. I like him. I just think Aguilar's not good. I think their wide receivers are trash. So you're looking at maybe that's a situation where you just go, all right, I'm going to take the under on the game overall.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I don't know. Tennessee just feels strange. Something just feels wrong there to me.
I mean, that line looks off. That's what I'm saying. I just take the under on that. That's the simple play for me, where I feel pretty comfortable that if Tennessee's defense shows up and they just run the heck out of the football, and maybe they struggle on offense, they're going under on that one.
Would you like to take a guess at what the hell we're going to see from Florida State?
A lot of running. Who the running back's going to be, if I put my money on it, I would pick Gavin Sawchuk. He profiles the closest to RJ Harvey for Malzahn. I think Chroma's the second guy, and I would say Roydell just sucks, which I've said for a while. He's slow and a plotter. And I think Cam Davis's days are numbered. I think he goes in the portal before he hits 4 games because his style of running does not fit Malzahn whatsoever. Deuce Robinson, I'm avoiding completely. I think Castellanos has a tough day against Alabama. And Alabama's interesting because you can play their running backs, I think, because what's his name? He got hurt. Jam Miller. Jam Miller's out for like 5 weeks. So Richard Young or Daniel Hill will be good value options for them. I think Ryan Williams is a little overhyped. He's priced higher than Jeremiah Smith on Slate, by the way. It's 9,100 Ryan Williams to 9K Jeremiah, which is ridiculous because Jeremy Bernard outperformed Ryan Williams for the back half of the season.
Yeah, but he had that catch against Georgia. You remember that?
He's 17. You know that?
I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you saw it, but he made this catch. You should look it up. It was incredible. It's all I've ever seen. It's like the highlight of college football at this point.
Oh, going back to Texas, by the way, my favorite stat during the offseason that I saw was on a per target basis, Ryan Wingo was as good as Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams as a freshman. And he's got a big season. Ryan Wingo, very good.
You got my interest. The my Texas stat from the offseason is everyone I play against in the NCAA college football video game is playing as Texas.
It's because of Arch Manning.
I only play against Texas or Alabama. I never play against anyone else. It's the only 2 teams anyone plays with. I don't know what it is.
And they're popular schools.
I also haven't lost yet. So.
And it's regional based connection, probably.
I'm in Florida. I shouldn't get all Texas teams. You think someone would show up with the Florida?
Well, there's
Florida
no Miami team. There's no Miami fans. I'm surprised you don't get Florida State a lot.
No, it's online games. I only get Alabama and I get Texas, and I don't lose. Next up in terms of big games, I'm happy to skip ahead to 7:30 unless you got something in between there.
Keep it riding. I'll hit my other bets on the back end.
Well, so LSU Clemson's next. Clemson's a 4-point favorite. I think this to me is a coin toss. It's 2 best quarterbacks in the country. I use LSU. That's my team. So maybe that's why I don't ever match up against LSU, but I feel like I could do LSU against LSU. So I went there. But that was me responding to JB in the comments on people don't use LSU. LSU's a 4-point dog here. To me, I think it makes sense. They've lost 5 straight openers at this point. They haven't won one since Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, who I've been in there a long time. Brian Kelly has made this a my team has to win this game. Clearly, I haven't put enough attention into winning one game type of thing. I just don't know what I'm getting from that LSU team to feel like they should be favored. The one thing I have here, and I'm curious your thoughts. Everyone seems to be picking Clemson to either win the title or lose the title game. I feel like I've seen Herb Street's graphic. I've seen the Joel Klatt graphic. I've seen the random dudes on Twitter who are quote unquote college football experts, and everyone puts out the 12-team graphic. And I feel like 9 times out of 10, Clemson's either winning the title or they're in the title game. And I don't know what Clemson has given us to make that where they are everyone's trendy. I won't even call them dark. Can I even call a team dark horse when I feel like 9 out of 10 teams are picking them to go to the title?
Yeah, I would say if you gave me Penn State and Clemson, I'd give you even money as the field, and I would be confident that one of them was in that title game. I'd feel pretty good about it, that I'd have a 50-50 chance to win the national championship. Mainly because both teams are built the exact same way that Michigan was 2 years ago and Ohio State was, where all these guys came back to win a title. Clemson particularly, like you saw last year, I was heavy on Clemson. I love that wide receiver core. I think it's amazing. Bryant Wesco is now in year 2, TJ Moore in year 2, Antonio Williams is going to go to the NFL after this year, but he came back. Tight end's the one spot where they didn't bring in a new guy, or they didn't return their tight end. But running back wise, I think they're going to get stronger as the year goes on. Adam Randall looks really good. He's bulked up to 230. Gideon Davidson's the freshman. I think he comes in. So losing Phil Maffa, I'm really not that concerned with in this situation. The defense, I love Sammy Brown at linebacker. They return a ton, but it is some of that defensive line that they're going to have to perform to their capability. Because, I mean, that defense, if you look at it, mock draft-wise, there are 3 or 4 guys that are first, late 1, early 2 round picks on that defense. That defense is stacked. And I don't know that we can necessarily say that about LSU. I still like the LSU offensive line. I think the LSU offensive line, granted, it turns over, and there's a reason why they had so many, like the whole line basically got drafted last year. 4 guys drafted? But they did bring in some transfers, some decent guys. That's a massive concern, though. I think they might play better as a unit overall. My biggest concern is Harold Perkins. If they run him out as linebacker, you're screwed.
I think the two things there, last year they had great tackles. The worst offensive lineman they had by a long shot was their center, who was consistently clueless on where to be blocking, letting free runners come right up the middle. They've kicked him to guard, and he's fighting whether or not he's even on the field. Their new center is the guy from Virginia Tech, who's like some kind of 5-year starter. They're talking about how him and Nussmeier together anchoring the center of the protections and that sort of thing is going to shore up what is clearly a drastic issue there. The receiving core is just speed built on top of speed with Barry and Brown, Aaron Anderson, and Chris Hilton. I think they've got plenty of weapons and guys. Caden Durham is stupid fast at running back as well. The running back depth is not there. The one thing I'd say on the defense, like you said, I don't know how they're going to deploy it, but for the first time, and I think, again, since that LSU 2019 team, they have safeties that can play. They've had terrible safeties for 5 years, and it's just been busted coverage after busted coverage all over the top of the middle of the defense. I don't know where this one goes. For me, it's largely an avoid. I could see a high-scoring game. I could see a low-scoring game. I could see a blowout, and I mean, I really don't see LSU blowing them out, but I just don't see it. My only thing is I struggle to see. I understand Clemson returns a lot, but we were week 2 or 3 last season talking about whether or not Dabo had what it took to coach this era of college football. And now a year later, it's like, well, Clemson's winning the title. I just that leap has confused me. Where last year their only legitimate opponents that they faced was Georgia in a 31-point loss. They got smacked by Tyler Shuck and Louisville at home. They lost to South Carolina, who was, pick your poison on what you think South Carolina was last year and will be this year. Should have probably choked the way that the ACC title game to SMU and then got smacked on the road by Texas. I mean, nothing there merely inspires me on Clemson to say I think they are one of my 2 favorite Heisman or championship teams, but I don't want to sit here and argue Clemson till the end of time because I'm insane to think the Sunday slate is one of probably my favorite out here because, I mean, it's entirely possible these are both huge blowouts, right?
I'm not even looking at who's on Sunday right now.
Sunday is Virginia Tech at South Carolina and Notre Dame at Miami.
So
I think both could be blowouts.
I think I do have concerns with South Carolina. I don't know what they are outside of Sellers. I think
Sellers
Virginia Tech sucks, but I think they lost most of their a good chunk of the defense outside of Dylan Stewart, who's just a man-child, like just an absolute animal.
Well, the D-line, I think, had just as much to do with everything last year as Sellers.
Yeah, but Sellers is very good. So I think that's interesting. And you mentioned Texas-Michigan vibes, right? Earlier in the show. And that was the most confident I was in a bet all last year. And I was in Oregon when I made that bet.
And we hammered that last year. We hammered it. I remember it coming up many units up after that game. That covered the season.
I'm thinking of doing like 10 units on Notre Dame. I don't see how Miami stays within 3 touchdowns of Notre Dame. Like, I've asked multiple people, how is Miami win that game or even come close to Notre Dame? Notre Dame, what's the issues? Where is Notre Dame weak? And that's where I'm trying to figure out, right? I can't figure that out. They lost a little bit on defense, but they returned so much. Let's look at it. And so, coach Marcus Freeman coaches around, circles around Mario Cristobal. Cristobal's just a recruiter. You go quarterback, sure. We've got a banged up Carson Beck who isn't a leader. We learned that more during the offseason. If he was really that good, Georgia keeps him. Like, we've learned that if teams that at the top, like Georgia, think you're a great player, they will pay to keep you. And they didn't. So that's where I just don't see that. And I don't think I just don't see how you can say that from that standpoint. And then I think Notre Dame's just better at running back. There isn't a wide receiver worth a crap on Miami whatsoever. They were bringing in Keelan Marion. They were bringing in guys from Tony Johnson. They brought in guys that don't have a single receiver. Yeah, CJ Daniels. CJ Daniels couldn't get open against me right now, and I haven't played in 15 years. Like, there's no way CJ Daniels gets open. He doesn't. He can't run straight. Like, you just let him run hitch routes. That's all he does. He's a big body receiver who can't blow by a single DB in college football. He couldn't get open with Garrett Nussmeier. How's he getting open with Carson Beck? So I just, you got Jeremiah Love. He could be a Heisman contender. Offensive line is probably the one spot that's closest. Defensive line, maybe there's an argument because they lost Howard Cross and the other big guy. But man, it's a struggle for me to find a way that Miami, I don't see how convicts beat the Catholics this weekend.
It's funny that somehow this game feels under the radar when it's top 10 game. You watch ESPN and I know everyone can have their complaints about ESPN and the whole 9 yards, but I mean, that is, for all intents and purposes, the home of college football at this point. Do you see commercials for that Florida State-Alabama game? You see commercials for the LSU-Clemson game. You do not see commercials for this Miami-Notre Dame game. I don't know what it is. They are not advertising it, and it feels like this should be more hyped. I don't see it.
Yeah. Florida State, though, time slot champions. They're everybody's going to watch, whether they're 2-10 or 10-2. I mean, this is a
Miami Notre Dame. I mean, that should bring everyone to the TV seat.
Maybe it's an NBC thing. People don't want to. I don't know what this game's
on ABC.
on. Yeah, but Notre Dame. I don't know.
I guess
I think Notre Dame. Listen, I am the farthest from. If you listed my 2 teams that I despise more than any other, that I wish a game would end in a 0-0 tie, it's Virginia Tech and it's Notre Dame. 1 and 2.
That's so funny because you're Virginia Tech's biggest fan.
I bid into Virginia Tech early last year, and I bid into Notre Dame this year. At least I do feel good about CJ Carr, but I will say by about week 3, we're all going to be extremely tired of hearing the Ryan Williams, he's 17 bit this year is going to be CJ Carr. He's Lloyd Carr's grandson. That's going to happen every week. And it's going to get old very fast. It's going to be right up there with Maserati Marv.
You sure it's not going to be right up there with Jordan Hudson, who gets to close out our Monday Labor Day slate with North Carolina hosting TCU? Bill Belichick starter. I mean, I'll watch
the furries. We got Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson, the furry gate from Josh Hoover. He seems to have embraced the furry thing. He's tweeting about it now.
I'm just going to watch this. I mean, Andrew McCutcheon did that the one time. He tweeted something out about Pittsburgh and was like, what's with all these people? And now he's just like, all of a sudden, every year, he's just like, oh, yeah, the furries are in town. I'm going to watch this one for morbid curiosities because I just don't see how Belichick doesn't end his career sad at North Carolina.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. They're a year away. We already know they're building. Remember, they got Gio Lopez though, which we're fans of. Gio from South Alabama. But I think Sonny Dykes comes out hot. Now, this is where this game is interesting. Is Belichick has had a ton of time to plan for this game, and you give a ton of time to build, to confuse a college quarterback like Josh Hoover, it could happen. I just think Eric McAllister, Josh Hoover, they're going to be number 1 and 2. But I know TCU does not have a run game, so that's going to be an issue for them. They still don't have a run game. They brought in Cavante Barnes from UTSA, but he's been bad for the last 2 years, so he's been a shell of himself. I'm kind of concerned about their run game, and I think Bill, by being one dimensional, could really put them in a pickle.
Well, you just talked me into it. I'm taking North Carolina then. I mean, that right there was enough because, I mean, if you ain't got a run game, I can see it now. Belichick opens his start at UNC, and then we spend a week talking about Belichick, and then get absolutely smacked by whoever's up on the schedule second.
It could be very well like a Dion deal with Colorado when they got smacked by Oregon.
Oh yeah, Clemson week 5. So yeah, I could see them win 4 in a row. Maybe they lose to UC. No, they probably be UCF. Maybe then Clemson.
UCF's terrible. UCF's could be terrible. Cam Fancher, starting quarterback. He's the second worst starting quarterback, maybe the worst. Robbie Ashford just got named starter at Wake Forest. So we're in the year of 2025, and we got Cam Fancher and freaking Robbie Ashford starting games for P4 teams.
If I can have you plug your week ahead, what's the schedule for the people?
Well, I got a couple bets left. So I like Southern Miss plus 11.5 against Mississippi State.
They're at home.
Blake Shapen's going to be pretty good, but we got to remember Southern Miss was terrible last year, and Southern Miss is basically the Marshall team that won the Sun Belt last year. They all transferred with the coach. He left because they were going to fire him the year before, and he was still mad about that after he won the title the next year. Otherwise, I took Tulane minus 6.5. This was pre-Retzlaff news against Northwestern. They're playing at home. Northwestern literally does not have a running back. They have one wide receiver in Griffin Wild, and Preston Stone from SMU fame is their starter. Give me Jake Retzlaff and the Fighting Tulane Green Wave to win that game. I just don't think they can make the playoff because, remember, they have 2 very tough P4 opponents coming up with Ole Miss and somebody else who's tough. Otherwise, I like Toledo as a money line shot against Kentucky. Zach Calzada, you'll remember him from Auburn. He's terrible. Just because he went to our Incarnate Word for a year does not make him Cam Ward. So I will take Toledo to win at plus 225 on this specific book, but I don't know what. Shop your lines, please. Take Toledo money line. Tucker Gleason, I think they win. Junior Vander Ross is returning. Chip Trainum, starting running back. He's in a revenge game against Kentucky. I think he has a legit shot to be the MAC Offensive Player of the Year this year. And then otherwise, this one hits close to home as well. This is the last one. Right up there with Virginia Tech and Notre Dame is Old Dominion. My dad went there, hence I despise them. I hated that they got a football team after James Madison and left us and went to the FBS first, but now who's laughing? They are playing at Indiana against Coach Signetti. He likes to blow teams out. It's 22.5. We're going to play plenty of Colton Joseph on Sunbelt slates, but in this scenario, James Madison can beat them by about 20. I'd expect Indiana, with still a mostly JMU team, to beat them by at least 30. So that is a hammer bet for me. You have anything else you like?
No, but Darian Mensah is and Duke is the other Tulane matchup.
Yes, that's gonna be a very tough one. I think Duke, underrated team as well, top 4. I put them, Clemson, Georgia Tech, and Louisville all ahead of Miami in the final standings this season. So rest of the week, we're going to have, I don't think I'm going to do first look on FanDuel, but I'm going to do underrated game of the week, which I gave away already. It's going to be, I'm going to go more in depth on USF, South Florida, facing Boise State, but that's going to be a weekly series. And then I will do lineup building on FanDuel, which I'll give away a little bit. Thursday slate, JB asked for it. CJ Bailey at 9,800, good quarterback play. I like Sia Bangura returning to Ohio. He is facing Rutgers, but 6,800 is a nice price tag. You probably don't need it, though. Play Darius Taylor, please, at Minnesota. Justin Jolie, I like calling him Jolly because he makes me happy when he plays. 6,600, good stack partner for CJ Bailey. And then ECU, this is where you want to stack this game. Yannick Smith, 6K, wide receiver. I think he's going to end up being the number one for East Carolina. And then Jacquez Petaway, 5,700 is a steal for him as well, but Yannick Smith is my preferred option. Petaway's been generating some buzz out of the slot for East Carolina. They're going to have to throw the ball. So stacking that game, you can stack Caton Hauser in there if you want. But reminder, Rutgers is going to try to throw the ball this season. That is apparently they're going to rely on the Greek rifle. And I'll be doing some lineup building throughout the week and just go live when I build. That way, put some pressure on me so I actually finish early. It was nice to be able to wake up on Saturday morning and not stress about lineups the entire day, even though I bothered you about late swaps.
You were panicked on late swaps with me, yeah.
Yeah, if I would have gone McIver, and Henry on that team, I would have won 3K. So that was a bit of frustrating.
You're welcome.
Nah, it's all good. It wasn't your fault. I was going to play Jalen Daniels. Actually, if I would have played Daniels Pickett, it probably would have won something too. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll be back throughout the week. And then Brian will join me hopefully on a routine basis on Sundays.
Yeah, I'll do my best to be here as often as I can. It's just we're on opposite schedules on Wednesdays, which we normally had done it before, but
Sunday works for him better.
Yeah,
and then as long as there's no hurricanes, then Brian's got to work.
Well, next week Sunday is going to be tough because I'll be flying back from Clemson, so it may have to be Monday for the two of us, which probably works out better anyway, given the way the slate slides into Monday, regardless.
Oh yeah, we could do Monday next week. Yeah, that's no problem. We can watch TCU and
North Carolina together.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy enough. Thanks, JB. Appreciate you hanging out, man.
Yep. Y'all have a good week. Bye.